Okay, this is Geometry 5.1, Angles of Triangles. Let's first review what a triangle is. A triangle is just a polygon with three sides. So you name a triangle by its three vertices. So I could say triangle ABC, and then this would be my triangle. Here are the three sides. It's in a plane. The sides are made up of segments. The vertices are points, so I can have the points where the sides intersect. Those are the vertices. So A is a vertex. That's singular for vertices. B is a vertex. C is a vertex. AB is a side. That's a segment. BC is a side. And then AC is a side as well. So I can name it triangle using the symbol ABC. And then you classify triangles both by the sides and angles. So by classifying triangles, you're actually naming the triangles. So if you're classifying or naming a triangle by its sides, there's three different types of triangles. One type, and then everything's represented here using the tick marks instead of being given specific side lengths. But one type of triangle by the sides is a scalene triangle. A scalene triangle has no congruent sides. Again, that's shown here by the tick marks. No sides are congruent. Okay. A second type of triangle is an isosceles triangle. So note the definition of an isosceles triangle. You have at least two sides congruent. And in this case, I have these two sides congruent, which also means in an equilateral triangle where you have three congruent sides. An equilateral triangle is also an isosceles triangle because if you have three sides congruent, that's at least two sides that are congruent. All equilateral triangles are isosceles, but not all isosceles triangles are equilateral. So know the definitions of both isosceles and equilateral triangles, but that's classifying the triangle by its sides. You can also classify or name triangles by the angles. So if I classify a triangle by angles, then there's four different types of triangles by the angles. One is an acute triangle. You already know what an acute angle is, but in an acute triangle, all three of the angles are acute angles. You could also have a right triangle. In a right triangle, there could only be one right angle in a triangle. If you're not sure, once we go over the theorems, you could figure out why a triangle can have at most one right angle, but you have one right angle shown by the tick mark here. An obtuse triangle has just one obtuse angle. So in this case, the like top right angle is an obtuse angle, more than 180 degrees. More than 90 degrees, but less than 180 degrees. And then an equiangular triangle. That's all three angles congruent angles. We'll figure out the measure of each of the angles of an equiangular triangle once we go through some of the theorems. But those are the different types of triangles by the sides and its angles. You can name a triangle both by the sides and angles. For example, you could have a scalene right triangle. So for example, if this is my right triangle and I have an angle that's a right angle, if it's a scalene right triangle, all three sides would be of different length. For example, 3, 4, and then this would have to be 5. You'll understand why once we go over the Pythagorean theorem. But it's true that 3 squared plus 4 squared is equal to 5 squared. Okay. You can have an isosceles acute triangle, like this one right here. There's at least two sides congruent. And then all three of the angles, say I took a protractor and measured each of the angles, all three of the angles would be acute angles, less than 90 degrees, and then more than 0 degrees as well. So you can name a triangle or classify a triangle both by its sides and angles. It doesn't have to be just one or the other.